of coffee Q&A here on the Coffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and we come here and talk about coffee with some questions, some answers, most Monday through Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. How y'all doing? Welcome back to the show. Today, we're on the road again. I just delivered coffee to the food market in Columbia, and now I thought we'd stop by here in Ellicott City, Maryland, where we were here a couple weeks ago going to try the coffee at Einstein Brothers. But today I thought, let's go and check out Ellicott City again and have a look at their coffee scene here. Now, one of the interesting things about Ellicott City is that as I've been growing up over the years, Ellicott City has really blossomed into this kind of like mini Korea kind of thing. Hey Kent, how are you, man? Good to see you. And there's a couple different coffee shops and bakeries here that are imports from Korea, and I thought, let's go check out one of them. There's a couple that I like here. There's a place called Shilla Bakery that I enjoy, and then the place we're going to go today is a place called Tous Les Jours. Tous Les Jours is it's interesting. Like, you go to Korea and you go to China, you go to Korea and you go to Japan, and there are, I can't even say that they're patisseries. They're not necessarily patisseries. They're not necessarily boulangeries. They're kind of a mix between the two, where they have both breads that you find at boulangerie, and then you have like pastry that you find at patisserie. So, and Tous Les Jours is one of those, and it's kind of like the Korean style interpretation of French pastry, which I do find enjoyable. Mom, good morning to you, man. Devin, how are you? So we're almost there. I just pulled over before we just down the road from it. So we're gonna head there now. We're gonna go in, we're gonna see what it's all about, check out some of their baked goods, and then get a coffee and something to eat. Now, I haven't been to this particular location since I think the pandemic, or right after the pandemic, because, you know, the last time that I was here, they still hadn't opened their indoor seating. And before the pandemic, it was very popular for coming in and sitting down and eating and whatnot. But today, we're gonna come in, we're gonna sit down, or not gonna sit down, we're gonna take it with us, because, you know, this is the road rules, so we need to take it with us. And I need to park carefully. So this is in a strip center in Ellicott City. There's even a ginseng store here, so if you want to get your special ginseng, you can buy that here. All right, I think we're ready. So if you have any thoughts on what you'd like me to try, let me know. Okay, we're going here. A place called Tous Les Jours. And surprisingly, the weather is relatively mild today. Much nicer than I was expecting. When I got out, actually, when I left my house, it was pretty cold. Right now, it's feeling kind of warm. All right, Tous Les Jours, look, holiday wishes from, I'm going to venture to say that he's probably some famous K-popper. But I'm only fans with Blackpink, Momoland, and Twice, so I don't really know anything. So we're here at Tous Les Jours, and they have baked goods. Right, so we have honey cheese pancake, mochi pancakes, apple jam, Mont Blanc, strawberry jam, Mont Blanc. Ooh, that looks good. Ooh, yes. Milky bread. There's also chestnut pastry, apricot Danish. Ooh, strawberry cream saboro. Whoa. Green tea croissant. Says you like green tea. Mango cream croissant. Ooh, they've changed their menu a bit since I was here. Strawberry croissant. We might have to try that. And some cakes here. What is this salad? Salad croquette. Yogurt buns. Ooh, fruit tart. Then we have our normal viennoiserie, like pain au chocolat, pain au raisin. Ooh, chocolate avalanche. What's that all about? Chocolate pretzel. Ooh. Custard and almond pretzel. Coffee bun. Oh, that's kind of like the Chinese buns. Nice. Vanilla cream. Honey toast. Let me know if you have any votes for what we should try today. Look at that. Cream puff pastry, sweet cheese and blueberry Danish. I'm kind of partial to that. Red bean donuts, so red donuts with red bean filling. Sweet rice donuts, so sweet like mochiko rice kind of thing. Ooh, yuzu pie. Milk cream bread. Spinach feta Danish. Guava Danish. Custard bun. Now we got the eclairs. The berry cream custard. Blueberry pastry. And soboro. These are like Korean style buns. Premium red bean. Then more back to savory. Bulgogi sausage. Sausage onion pastry. Sweet franks. Garlic cream cheese. Garlic and cheese croissant. Ham and cheese. Looks a little bit overcooked, that one. Mushroom and onion. And then some breads. Buttercream. Ooh, milk. Yellow bread. Some baguettes. Nutty creams. Then we have cookies. So they've got a lot of stuff here. And then some hot stuff. Kimchi croquettes. Curry. These are huge croquettes. For $3.50, that's a good deal. Curry. And regular croquettes. Then there's, like cakes. Lunch sandwiches. And then a whole case of cakes. So, any thoughts on what I should try? Too many options says can't. I know it's too many options, and it does look delicious. Delicious, you can smell them. All right, so if you have any thoughts on what I should try, let me know. Otherwise, I might choose something a little bit pedestrian. What do we want? Strawberry cream. Okay, strawberry cream Saboro. That sounds. T. McDayo says, those they look great. Don't they look fabulous? They look fabulous. But do you have anything that is there something you think that I must try? Oh, Mont Blanc pastry. So here's something interesting. Mont Blanc pastry. Mont Blancs were originally started by a viennoiserie in Paris called Angelina. And it's a very chestnut base, but it's got this very specific style of top. And while it's still popular in France, it's very popular in Japan. And I guess but the way that they're doing it here with this Mont Blanc this is more like croissant dough rolled, almost like croissant dough done like a croissant roll, with like a cinnamon roll. So very different. In here, this is probably the closest thing. They have some kind of topping. But the Mont Blanc evidently means something quite different under their language, their pastry language, not Korean language, than what I'm used to. Try something new to me. That's a good point. Okay, let's see. I want to gravitate towards the strawberries, but that is something because that I'm familiar with. But I was thinking the strawberry Saboro because I'm not with Saboro, and it would be kind of making that connection between something new and something old. But maybe that's the way to go. Saboro is a very Korean thing, I think. All right, let's do that. We're gonna do the Saboro. We're gonna bridge the gap between what I'm familiar with and what is unique to Korea, I think. So, hey, can I ask you guys a question? This Saboro, so the Saboro type pastry, are you guys familiar with that?
No, you might want to ask me.
Not really.
Is that like a traditional Korean pastry or something?
I think so. I don't know.
I've
had it like twice maybe.
Okay, well, I've never had it, so I'll give it a try. All right, thanks. I'm gonna grab this. There, Okay. Now we're gonna go. I've got to close the door and all that. Okay, we're gonna go now. Okay, so we got our strawberry cream Saboro. Now we want to have some coffee. Is that food expensive? It's $5 for this. Is it expensive in modern times? Maybe. Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think it's always kind of expensive. I mean, I think modern prices in America are quite expensive. What I'm wondering is, can my Apple Pay work while I'm using the phone to live stream? Hi there. I have a question for you. This Saboro, what coffee do you think goes well with it? What would you have it with?
You want sweet or not?
What would you have with it?
Our best coffee.
But what would you have with it? Not your best coffee. What would you have with it?
I don't like sweet.
Excellent.
I just go latte.
Excellent. I'll have that.
Oh, you want?
Yeah, if you will have latte with this, I will have latte with this. Small. Thank you. I don't know if my. Oh, it does work. Ah, it will work. I'll do one second. If I lock you guys for a moment, I'm just paying. 10:58. Ooh. Did that work?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
And then, are you done eating or to go?
Let's take it to go, please. Yes, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Coffee.
All right. So they make the lattes very traditional. Thank you. All right. So we're gonna wait for our meal here. We have so these runners up. Oh, look, runners up. Looks like so nicely done here. We'll wait over here while our drink. So she suggested latte. We'll get a latte. Gave me a little number here to ring it in. Yeah, the food isn't expensive. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, $5. I mean, so this total cost me $10. The total was $10.58 without tax, without tip, and I put in 15% tip, so it's probably close to $12. Which, you know, for okay, I'm in the business, and I'm known to charge a lot of money for products. So it is always odd for me to say, yeah, it's kind of pricey. Like $12 total is pricey for a breakfast. Like, it would be nice if it was like $5. The problem is that this is something I was working on earlier this year. My plan for the new shop was to do a very quick service kind of place where for $5 you could get a nice brewed coffee and a nice pastry. However, as I started to really work on it and talking to vendors, trying out different with bakeries and stuff, and I wanted to work with vendors instead of for the bakers. I wanted to work with vendors instead of doing it in-house, because in-house would end up in-house. We could do it very well in-house, but we wouldn't be able to do it very cheaply. And that was really the thing. So in order to meet a $5 price point, I found some product vendors that delivered decent product for a price point that we could serve coffee and a pastry for $5. The difficult part was that it just wasn't great. And it just wasn't great. Like, and what really underscored it for me was one day I was out in Baltimore City, and I was just driving around doing something, and I found this one coffee shop that I'd never been to before, so I stopped in. Ethiopian coffee shop, Ethiopian owned, Ethiopian coffees, natural processed coffees. They bring their own coffees in from Ethiopia, they roast in-house, and they serve pastry. And I had this nice yogurt chefe, nice, really flavored and nicely roasted. And it came with basically what was like a Costco or Sam's Club style pastry, which I had always been thinking, oh, that would be fine enough. But But when I was actually the guest eating that combination together, it did cost more than $5 at this place. I think I spent like $7 or $8, but it just wasn't commensurate. Like the quality and experience of that level of pastry just was not commensurate with the coffee that we would serve, as well as just the experience we want to give. So it's like, and some of my friends in the business, like John Piquet of Cafe de Bola, he was always like, dude, you're crazy. You just forget the $5 and just pay, just do it the way you want it, and like charge an appropriate amount. And I was like, but I was really concerned about, trying to make something affordable for a regular person, because, I do think that things in modern times are pretty expensive here in America. But the hard reality that I had that it took me to go out to eat this was that to deliver in America the level of quality that we would like at the price point that I would prefer to make it really easy for people, like no-brainer level kind of thing. It was just impossible. It's just impossible to do that. And part of that is, not just to do that, but also to do it in a way where you can make a survivable and viable business that not only provides, revenue and profitability for the company, but more importantly provides enough revenue for supporting a staff, and staff that can have living wages. Ooh, cafe latte. Thank you. All right, we got our latte food here. We'll go outside. There's a truck out here. He's not blocking us, thank goodness. He must be delivering to the ginseng house. Ginseng is very popular. Look, it's very fancy inside. They're very fancy. It's very expensive. All right, so we've got our stuff here. It says coffee time refined. Nice. One of the nice things that I really like about Japanese and Korean bakeries and stuff, they really pay a lot of attention to the packaging. Like, the cultures are very big into the packaging, right? Like, I remember I went to this one coffee place, or a donut place that had coffee. A donut place in Tokyo many years ago. And I remember taking pictures of their bags and their boxes because it's such a cute little bear on it. I wish I could remember the name of it offhand, but I can't. So that's what that's what I was thinking about, trying to bring nice quality coffee to the people for the new shop, was that it just wasn't possible after a while. I realized it wasn't possible to deliver a high quality, like a really, really compellingly excellent product for $5. And so we've abandoned that now, and eventually we will have we'll work with vendors that we really like, who make really great product, and just charge an appropriate price. Like I was saying, because it's also about making sure that we have enough revenue to cover the livelihoods of our staff. That's important. Like, what I want is, I would prefer to have baristas that are able to do the job as a career for the long term, rather than just some kind of thing where they're like, oh, I'm just doing this while I'm in college or something. So, all right, here is the latte they gave us. So, kind of interesting. Oh, this guy is like backing out. Is he gonna crash into us? I guess he's good. All right, he's from North Bergen, New Jersey, so he's used to tight spaces. Okay, so the latte is handmade. So one nice thing about this place is that they still make their drinks handmade on La Marzocco machine. and it's quite hot. It's a hot drink, but fairly pleasant. Right. So not bad. Can't really complain about that. Now, of course, if you have questions about coffee or anything as we're doing this, let me know. So that's our bag. So again, nice packaging on the bags. Evidently, they've been operating since 1977. And here is the. Let's take this. There it is. This is the Saboro. Saboro is, I guess, a traditional type of Korean bun that looks like it has a crumble top. Actually, the initial feeling here feels kind of like a biscuity kind of texture. So this might be kind of like biscuit-ish. There's the bottom, so you can see that. The crumb is, fairly open. Cream cheese, whipped cream. And then there's a crackle top on it. And hopefully fresh and tasty strawberries. Maku says, you're lucky I have one of those places near me and they use a super hot. Really? That's too bad. I wonder what makes these guys. And this is a fairly new La Marzocco. Now, I don't know if they're really doing how manually they're doing. There are volumetric dispensers on that La Marzocco, but still, they're still tamping by hand, or at least putting the port filter in. Okay, that's not very elegant. Okay, so very lightly sweet, and that was the interesting thing. I was asking the barista, Korean woman, what do you like? She said, well, this is what's popular. And I was like, no. What do you like? Because I don't want to know what's popular. I don't care what everybody else is buying. Oh my, this guy's going to lose it. Look at this guy. It's going to fall off of that thing. Good Lord. No, it's all right. It is the ginseng. Okay, you got the ginseng. Okay, I guess we're okay. Oh, man, I thought he was going to lose it for a moment there. And I was asking her, so what would you have with it? She said, well, what's really popular? I was like, no, what's really popular, but what do you like? What would you have? And she said, well, I don't like things too sweet. I was like, that's good. I don't want too sweet. And then she was like, latte. And I was like, all right, latte it is. Latte. She was I think she was taken by surprise that I would go with what she was saying. Like, I do think that a lot of baristas do try to hedge their bets, right? Like when a customer would ask them, like, what would you have? They always want to, well, this is what's popular. Well, I don't care what's popular. I want to know what you like. Which I think is definitely a very odd response from a guest. All right. Now, we saw 3 strawberries, and the strawberries are pretty good, but I think that the front, there's no strawberries inside the Saboro. Naomi, how are you? We are at Tous Les Jours here in Ellicott City. So the Saboro itself is actually very pleasant. Right? And the whipped cream, very nice. So lightly sweet. Whoa. Not enough strawberry. All the strawberries are falling out. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 strawberries in this thing. Should have more. Oh, Naomi was here yesterday. Oh, nice. Oh, in Colombia. Okay. Wait, you went to the food market? Or you went to Tous Les Jours? Maybe the food market. I know they have lavender latte on the menu. So too much lavender, you think, on the pump? Maybe the girl made too much lavender on the pump. I will ask. Do you remember what girl was working? Oh, the food market lavender was great. Oh, is there Tous Les Jours in Colombia? So many things I don't know. So lightly sweet, but actually really pleasant. Like I like. So if you think about the Chinese dim sum, right? If you go to Chinese dim sum, they have this thing called pineapple bun. It's got this crackly kind of top. And the texture of a nice pineapple bun is kind of a little bit on the dry side. Of the crumb is a little bit on the dry side. This is very similar in textural experience and sweetness level of a typical pineapple bun. So, actually, and I think the whipped cream, nicely sweetened. And the latte, no sweetener in the latte, just a straight up latte. And this is the nice thing about, I was going to say just Asian desserts, but I think this is true of desserts in most places outside the United States. Desserts outside the United States tend to be quite a bit less sweet than what we have here in America. Like, I remember going to Wegmans not too long ago and getting their chocolate cake. And I really liked their chocolate cake, but I had it recently. And I brought it home and I was eating it and I was like, man, it is super sweet. Like, it's too much. It's too much. Like I was making brownies a couple weeks ago. I gave some to my mom and my dad, and they were like, it's pretty sweet. Maybe you should reduce the sweetness. And I was like, yeah, it is. It is. The recipe was really heavy, so I think I can cut it by like 2/3 and still have a really good level in sweetness. So what coffee did we order? We ordered just a straight up latte. Asked the barista, what would you have with this Saboru? And she was like, she was like, tell me what's popular. I was like, no, what would you have? And so she was like, I don't like it to be too sweet. I would have a latte. I was like, good, I'll have the latte. Oh, there is one in Colombia. I didn't know there was one in Colombia. Nice thing with this one, they make their stuff kind of by hand on a La Marzocco. Where Mako was saying that where he lives, the Tous Les Jours only has a super auto. Which I think is interesting. It makes me wonder, like, maybe these are franchisee owned and the franchisees can choose their own equipment rather than being dictated their equipment by like corporate, I guess. Naomi says, I wanted one of their cakes, but didn't want to pay 40. Yeah, but 40 is not a bad price to pay, or it's kind of like the going rate for a lot of cake places. And depending where you go, it's not bad. Like I think if you go there's a cake shop by my place, a guy that was evidently on Cake Wars or Cupcake Wars or something like that, a place called Cake by Jason Hisley. I think his cakes are like quite a bit more than $40. So $40, not too bad. And Amy says, that's what I like about Asian house desserts, not too sweet, not too sweet. I spy across the street, there's a place called The Canopy. I'm kind of tempted to go there. So for those of you not from Baltimore, Baltimore is known, one of Baltimore's known foods is something called pit beef. Basically, you take rump roast from a cow and you cook it over fire. Really simple, just really simple. And then you slice it, you put on some bread, and you serve it up with whatever condiments. If you've watched Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri, he's been a few times, I think, to a place called Chaps here in Baltimore, which everyone's like, Chaps is the best. Chaps is good, but sometimes inconsistent. I think a place that's not too far from where we are now in Security Boulevard, a place called Pioneer, is the best and very consistent. Like all the time you go there, you're like, this is hella good. But Canopy I've been to a couple times, and that's pretty darn good too, I think. Next to small cakes, don't go there. Wait, small cakes is a shop? Or are you saying that this is next to the small cakes, which that's true too. I don't think there's a way to eat this without getting messy. It's quite messy. Unless I had a fork. Naomi says the Canopy has vegan fries. Wow. Of all places. Yeah, so it's a beef shop that has vegan fries. I guess, they understand that sometimes you're going to bring your loved ones that wants to have vegan, and they're going to cater that. That's smart thinking. What are vegan fries, though? I thought all fries are vegan. Aren't they all? Aren't French fries vegan to begin with? Unless, of course, you're using beef tallow or lard, but. Marco wants to know if if the Tous Les Jours that Naomi went to also has La Marzocco or Super Auto. It's in the mall. There's so many things that are inside Columbia Mall that I just never think about, like the Pollo Campero, the Salvadorian chicken place. I'm like, ooh, I gotta go there. Okay, I'm totally messy here. Oh, Naomi says that most places fry in a vat of oil shared with chicken nuggets. It said, oh, gotcha. Understood. Craig, Idea Studio, man. How are you? Dana, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. How are things in Bangkok? I know it's been a while. We've been wondering how you've been doing. Hope your holiday season is going well, Christmas and all that. It's kind of late there, isn't it? I certainly appreciate you being here. Oh, and Naomi says, not there in the mall. Do you know where Mango Grove is or Pub Dog? No, but I'll find out. Just the other day, Keone was telling me to go back and watch your siphon video because he and I always discuss. Oh, yeah. We did the siphon because Naomi kept asking about the siphon. So we did that. And I hope it explains enough to make it understandable or hopefully simpler to do or more approachable. I mean, I know it can be a little bit intimidating when you kind of look at it from afar. You're like, oh, there's a lot to do there. It's so complicated. But we want to make it simple and easy for people to understand how to oh my, I just noticed I have whipped cream on my jacket, on the steering wheel. So Canopy has a dedicated vat of oil only for French fries. Ooh. You make a very compelling reason for me to go to Canopy. Because you know what? While I like pit beef, I love French fries. Like my Achilles heel is French fries. Women and French fries. That's it. That's where I falter in life. So when I started drinking coffee, I remember one day I came into work many, this is like 20 some years ago. I came in to open the shop and I remember thinking to myself, I had that feeling, I guess I know you guys all understand this feeling, that feeling where you're like, oh, I gotta have coffee. And I remember saying that to myself, oh, I gotta have coffee. And then I thought to myself for a moment, oh, I need to stop. And I went cold turkey on coffee for like 2 months. I know I'm working on coffee, but because I was like, I have addiction enough to chocolate, French fries, and girls. I do not need a coffee addiction to lead me down a deep rabbit hole. Look at what good that did, man. Dana says, my brother-in-law has one at home. He has a 50-50 track record of making a good cup. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of technique and a bit of practice. It does take a bit of practice, but I think that it can be done well without too much difficulty. I mean, yeah, I think if I can do it, anyone can do it. Really, Yeah, but it does take. Well, and when you watch the video, I do get into it. Like when we're making it, we can be very loose and talkative with our guests, right up until the point until we begin. When we actually begin the coffee making, the actual making of the siphon, like that's when we really start to focus and really give intense focus, because the actual brew cycle, the brew time, is only 35 seconds. So you really, and here's the thing. So if you're off, like if you start making this and you taste it and you vary the timing by like a few seconds, like I think you will notice a difference, right? Like the more nuanced your coffee, and the more you come off at 35 seconds, like let's say you come off at 40 instead of 35, 45 instead of 35, I think you'll start to see that there are variations in the way the coffee tastes. Significant variations in the way the coffee tastes that you may not like, or you might. So that's why we experiment. But it's only intense for those 35 seconds. So when you watch the video, you'll understand this a little bit better. But once you come off of the stir at the end, here's something I didn't mention in the video. When you stir, like what I normally use, in the live stream, I used a bar spoon. Normally, I'm using a long bamboo paddle, like for tea making, and the key part there is that as you're swirling it, right, you have to be able to you have to remove the utensil that you're swirling with in a motion that comes out, right? You want to stir, and come out, right? That does not disturb the vortex you're trying to create inside the siphon. That actually takes a lot of practice. And I think about it now, and I think it took us a while. It takes a while for baristas to learn really that technique really well, and you'll know when you're not doing it right, because the way that the coffee forms at the end of the brew cycle, as it flows through the filter, really kind of shows you everything. And what we're looking, you'll see in the video, we're looking for a really nice, perfect dome of coffee at the very end. And if you don't have that, you can kind of know that it's gonna not be as good as it could have been. So I remember the last time we were doing this, we had a little bit of an issue where the sun was on us and we were not getting enough heat, we were not getting enough cooling. I wonder if the camera might be getting hot. Okay, so you want to be careful with that. Well, you just want to work on that technique to stir and pull it out, and then you should be golden. You really should be golden. It's really not. It just takes a little practice. That's all. Dana says, I'm in the process of moving. Oh, wow. So I've been really tied up with that process, and my own studio is half broken down. Wow. How far do you have to move? Like, that seems, moving is such a pain. I understand. I had to do that last year. And Naomi says, you missed the fiery show yet? What did we do yesterday? Oh, right, the fire. Yeah, in case you might be wondering, so after yesterday's live stream here on the normal show, I ended up doing a live stream on Instagram. So if you go to the Instagram feed, you'll get to see it, onocoffee 4. But my friend Matt has a new roaster that's 100 years old, this Royal No. 5. And we lit it on fire yesterday. And I mean, that's not a figurative, that's a literal statement. Like, we lit it on fire. And actually, I was rewatching the video, and I thought it was, at the time that was going on, I thought it was fairly well composed. I don't know if I was well composed as I thought I was, but yeah, because what we're doing is what was happening really was that we had this old roaster that Matt got that was refurbished by some guy, and the guy did kind of it's a refurbishment, not a restoration. So that should kind of, frame it. But these old Royal No. 5s are 25-pound roasters. They have cast iron drums, but they're perforated drums. You can see through them. And over time it gets a little bit of rusty patina on the stuff. So It had a little bit of rust, just surface rust, nothing significant. So we needed to like use abrasives to remove that rust, or to clean it up. So we were going to use originally, one of the great abrasives was peanuts. But the problem with peanuts is that we were concerned about allergens, right? Peanut allergens, because people are very sensitive. So we actually went to a peanut place, a place called Jeppy Nut. And I was asking the people there, and I was like, hey, these roasters you have here, because they have very similar roasters, but larger. You're firing coffee or at 400 degrees. Does that temperature burn off the allergen? Can the allergen survive at roasted temperatures? And they were like, yeah, there's no way to remove that. And I was like, what, really? I was really have a hard time. And I don't know if this is true or not, but that's what they told me. And so I was like, okay, well, that's too much risk. We don't want to introduce peanut allergies into the coffee, or peanut allergens. And so we decided to use some relatively inexpensive Brazilian green. So we put that Brazilian green in and let it run for like a day or so, just to try to clean it up. And then finally yesterday we got all the parts in, the valve and everything that we really needed to have to operate it, and lit it up to give it a try. And after we lit it, I was like, oh, we should like maybe live stream this, right? So that's why we had the live stream, and that's why it starts after we've started the ignition. But we had it it was our very first time using it, so trying to figure out how the roaster works. So we had it pretty much at full blast, and you'll see if you actually I gotta go back look at it again and run the timer on it, but it's really it's roasting at a high rate of speed, and it roasts super on this particular roast. It roasted super unevenly because it's got so much heat application. And if it's a 25-pound roaster, there's probably only 8 pounds of coffee in it, so it's like rocketing through its roast curve. So as it starts to reach first crack and starts to pop, it's all like when I was looking at it, I was like, this is really like unevenly roasting, right? The colors are all off. And then it just as you watch, you'll see it's escalating, and I'm like getting a little bit more like concerned because it's going so fast. It's like, oh, we need to like control this. And at one point, finally we was like, we need to shut the gas off, because now we're starting to lose control of the roast, right? And so we don't necessarily lose control of the roast, but it does ignite the coffee in the drum. So you'll see the drum on fire, the coffee on fire inside the roaster. Then we cut off the heat. Then we closed the door, because I was thinking, okay, let's close the door and control that a little bit more. But then I was thinking, then after a few moments later, I was like, well, let's just get it out of there, because it's already ignited, so it's not gonna do anything, and it's not gonna explode on us, right? Like if we had it fully sealed and then open the doors, and then we had this whole rush of oxygen into the chamber, it would explode then. Not explode enough to like destroy and like blow the. Yeah, there's not enough to blow it apart. It would just explode, and you'd have this big pop, and it'd be very scary. But the coffee comes out, and the coffee's all on fire, and there's a whole inferno on the floor. It's really quite entertaining, I think. So if you want to see a bit of foolish nonsense, that's something for you to consider. Nobody says, I went without coffee for a year for the same reason. Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful. Now I'm back, so I wasted. I think moderation is the way to go. I just don't want to wake up in the morning and be like, I gotta have coffee to operate. And that's kind of my existence. I don't have that desire for coffee. Like I have to have coffee in order to operate. If it wasn't for this show, and actually for what I do professionally, I probably wouldn't drink coffee very much at all. I'd rather drink tea. In fact, this morning, I actually had tea for breakfast. This is just cheap red label tea, nothing fancy. Dana says, most of the UCC cafes here in Bangkok offer siphon as an option. They are also 50-50. It can be an elusive thing, especially if you're not doing it a lot. And then even if you go to places that do it a lot, like this, the one place I went to in Hiratsuka, that's all they do. That coffee itself was very troubled. So no matter what the technique the woman had, no matter how amazing her technique may have been, the coffee was already, the cards were already stacked against her. So that was really difficult. That one says, is the Siphon similar to the vacuum brewer? So if you're thinking about the vacuum brewer, the balance brewer, right? The one that's like from Belgium or like from Austria that does this, no, they're different. But if you're thinking of the 2-chamber, what some people call the vac pot, other people call the siphon, they are one and the same. And then you can even get them in different sizes. Like I have a brewer that's from Bodum from many years ago. That's electric. It's an electric siphon, right? It's huge. It's like 12-cup siphon. It's pretty awesome. The only problem is it is a 12-cup siphon, and you have to clean it as though it was a 12-cup siphon, which means you've got this orb, and you got to pull this filter, and you got to clean out this upper chamber. It's just, you do it once, you do it twice, and then you're like, I don't ever want to do this again. Like no matter how cool this is, like this is just not fun. Dana says the explanation explains why UCC has a 50-50 track record. I see them walk away for longer than, we did a lot of testing. Well, it's been a long time, but to develop the recipes that we use with different time, and with Siphon we did different lengths of brew time, and 35 seconds was kind of the optimal for us. And you may think that's a little bit short, but I think part of that is, a big reason of that is because it is a pressurized brewing, which means that when you you lift it up, right? You're lifting the water into the upper chamber, and you're basically full immersion brewing the coffee with the water. But it's a short pressurized brew time because you actually suction the water through the coffee later as you go down, and I think that changes the factor. Plus, you're also grinding at a very fine rate, like not espresso fine, but maybe a little bit finer than AeroPress. So that also will have a factor at play here. Data says, I'm moving across the river near Aikansiam, moving from a 2-floor, 260 square meter place to a 4.5 floor, 500 square meter. Whoa, with a roof deck. Oh my, roof deck. That sounds excellent. Congratulations. I hope it works. I hope it goes smoothly for the rest of the time. Did you ever see the coffee brewing scene in Breaking Bad? Yeah, when that came out, a lot of us in the business were like, well, what's going on there? And I remember we broke it down at one point back when the show was, when that episode came out. And I think if I remember correctly, the actual part that would actually brew anything was super like small. Like it was only like a couple of pieces. Like everything else was just set dressing. We were really disappointed. I was like, oh man. But lab equipment is kind of expensive. But now, with the advent of Temu and Vivor, like you can get some lab equipment fairly inexpensively. And we're not doing like hardcore biology. We're just brewing coffee, so you don't really need to have like the true hardcore lab quality stuff. And the problem with lab equipment is that if you buy it used, like you never know what kind of chemicals or reagents we're using it. So it's like, ooh, do I really? And maybe they're totally clean, but I was always kind of scared to use them because now we're dealing with customers, and you can't just like potentially give them pathogens. How do you explain that on the news? You're like, oh well, we bought these used flasks to make our coffee look more scientific, and they got a disease and died, and that's a problem. But it's all right. We checked them out. Dan says, I know a spot in Ekamai where you can get lab glass at a pretty good price. Oh, all right. So many nice things in Bangkok. Actually, my friend, she was like, I want to go to Phuket for my vacation. And I was like, can I go there too? Maybe. All right, so that's pretty much it. I think I'm finished my coffee here. Well, the coffee is still more, but good. The coffee was good. It's a pleasant coffee. Pleasant, lightly sweet from the milk. The milk has some sweetness. It was a little bit on the hotter side when they served it, but I think the coffee they're using goes very pleasantly with it. Now, I don't know, Naomi, if you had the same kind of experience with, oh, you said you had the lavender there, but I thought the coffee preparation here was very nice. Very perfectly acceptable. Dana says, have you ever seen the video of those pressure pots for popcorn? Oh, I wonder if you could. Yeah, the ones where the little like this, and then they roll it over fire, and then they put it in a bag and pop it. I have wondered about that too. Then we can get one and try it. Why not? We like to explode stuff anyway. Dana says Phuket is nice. Well, some parts are nice, other parts are. So my friend, one of my other friends, my best friend from college, right? He has a house there on Chalong Bay. So if you're familiar with Phuket, like, the southern part of Phuket, southeastern part of the island, there's a bay, and in the south there's a bay, right? Chalong Bay, the one that has the big, huge Buddha. If you're looking at the Buddha from the bay, he's over to the right side of the bay. And man, we were there. I was there 10 years ago. And man, it's beautiful. I was like, oh, this is great. But yeah, you're right. If you go to the other side of Phuket, the northwestern side of Phuket, into, I guess that's Phuket City, I guess, but whatever. But yeah, that's definitely fun. But evidently they cleaned it up a lot. Like when the military, evidently what I was told is that when the military coup came, they got rid of a lot of the vendors and a lot of the stuff there. And so I guess it's better. I don't know. It's been a long time. I've been there in 10 years, so I can't really speak on that. But Patong, there we go, Patong, Patong Beach. Here's the thing. Like, I've been to Bangkok, and Thailand, mostly Bangkok. One time to Hua Hin. Quite a few times over the years. I've never really participated in those things. Like Patong, or what's the place down in kind of southeast of Pattaya. I've never done that. I've never partook in those things. Like, I see people do videos about them like that. Just does not look interesting to me. Now, and I'm telling you this as someone that, and when I say this, you're going to be like, well, what's going on with you? But like, I routinely hang out at Soy Cowboy, right? Like when I'm in town, one of my friends, American guy, he's a photographer, and he has a house at Asok, but right by Asok Station. And he's a cigar guy. I've known him for many, many years. Like, I knew him when he was poor, right? So we're sort of really good friends. And so he's like, but he has a group of friends that he hangs out with, a lot of British expats that they like to smoke cigars, and they smoke cigars at this bar, Jungle Gyms, on Soy Cowboy. And for those who may not be familiar, Soy Cowboy is one of the notorious soys or alleyways in Bangkok. If you ever look it up, you can look it up on YouTube, and Soy Cowboy is basically all these strip bars, go-go clubs on one street. And it's so, like, every time I have to go there, I'm kind of embarrassed. Like, I was with one of my friends, Tweety, right? And we were out to dinner the last time I was there, we went out to dinner. And she's like, oh, I'll drop you off wherever you need to go. I'll drop you in a hotel. I said, oh, I need to go meet my friends. And she's like, where do you need to drop them off? I was like, oh, Soy Cowboy. Now, she's one of my closest friends, right? Like, so she just laughs because she knows who I am. She knows that I'm not really doing that kind of thing. But I was like, I don't know, Soy Cowboy. But if you see the videos, it's really like that. It's like, whoa, this place is crazy. But it's strange because like these guys are there all the time. So that you're just sitting. We could be anywhere in the world, in any locale, and you're just sitting there having a cigar, watching people go by and do their thing. Tourists going gawking and going crazy over girls, or new interpretations of girls. So it's a very yeah. So I'm telling you, I have no problem saying this because what I do is like I'm very open about it, right? JP's with us. Magandang umaga to you as well, man. Coffee with Pandesal. Oh yeah, that was I actually had pandesal this morning. I had pandesal with bacon and tea. And Dana says there's also a very nice Thai rum by the same name, Patong. Oh, nice. Okay. Soy Cowboy, also known as the Ranch and the Red Light. Yeah. It's like, see, here's the thing. So I've been to Soy Cowboy a few times because my friends go there. But it's crazy because we will go to Soy Cowboy for one night, and then the next night we'll be at the Kempinski, that lounge, that jazz lounge in the Kempinski over by I think it's closer to. No, it's not close to Akamai, but the one that's close to Rangsi Pochana, that restaurant, and then another night we'll be at the Cohiba Atmosphere. So it's like, it's a very helter-skelter kind of like experience, because it's like, okay, we're here now with the sleaze, and then we're like with like the fanciest of sceneries. It's like, gosh. And Dana says the videos do not capture the crazy. Yeah, I guess that's true. I never go inside the clubs. We really, I mean, they know the staff at Jungle Gyms like super well, so it's like the girls never talk to us, they never pressure us. I mean, they'll talk and hang out, but you know, they're really there for the punters, which we evidently are not. Like, you've never felt like you've never felt so undesirable in your life, like, no, I'm not sexy to you, like you don't want me to. But then I know I'm just money meat for them. For, you know, it's like, it's a game. Like, it's interesting. Like, I met people over the years when I'm traveling, and they'll go to these countries where there's, you know, lower incomes, and they fall in love with these bar girls. And like, I remember one guy was like, yeah, I totally love this bar girl. We're totally in love, and and I married her. And I was like, are you kidding, dude? Like, really, man? Like, she's 20 years old and you're 65. And you're sending her money. I was like, dude, that's not gonna end. I was like, this is not gonna end up well for you, Governor. And it didn't. Sadly, it didn't. Like, he found out that she, of course, had been cheating on him because she was a bar girl, and other clients were there, and oh well. Dana says it's on the back end of Paragon. Oh, okay. Gotcha. When I have friends who visit Bangkok, they ask me to bring them to Cowboy. I bring them just before sunset, so the light reveal. Oh, come on, you got to take them there at night. The nighttime is when, like, we're there. Usually I won't meet them until like maybe 10. This is why I like Asia. This is true of when I'm in Bangkok or like in Manila. Like, I enjoy cigars, right? So we'll get together with my friends in both countries for cigars, and we don't even really think about meeting until after 10 o'clock on any night of the week. So it's like, it's really convenient in that you can do everything you need to do all your business, go out to dinner, have a nice time, and then finally you go out to have a cigar. Where here in in America, like, nobody wants to smoke that late. Like, everybody wants to have a cigar around 7 or 8. But I'm still in the middle of everything, so I'm like, I can't go. I can't meet you guys yet. So Dana says, I know a few guys who have lost their way. Soy Cub. Oh my, that is a shame. That is a shame. Two classic names that were hard-earned were Raw Dog Eddie and Biff. We're supposed to be a family show here, I think. My gosh, what you get here on the coffee Q&A. Coffee, cowboys, cash. We try to deliver quite a good and round reputation here for everyone. All the trucks are coming in and out now. Oh, Cowboy Coffee, we didn't do that. So we're gonna do another Tannenbaum coffee, I think, because now that Christmas is over, I got to get rid of the Christmas tree at some point. So we're gonna take the trees. I think we're gonna take the trees again and do. I don't know if you saw that video last January. We had the first episode of Tannenbaum Coffee, which is basically we take the trees and we burn them. And last year, I think we didn't burn them so well. Like, we laid them down. I think this year we need to build little stands for them and prop them up so that the flames will be as epic as possible. And last year we were trying to brew coffee in the flame, and we did a piss poor job at it. Like, so the coffee pot fell over and like spilled, and It just was disaster. So this time we're gonna try it. I'm working on the plan. Soy cowboy coffee. Oh, that would be a whole different kind of specialty coffee experience. I have tried to perfect cowboy coffee a few times, thinking I would get the technique down for when I go motor camping, but it's never good. Here's what I was thinking about. If you're, I believe you're talking about the type of cowboy coffee where you have the big pot that has the percolation thing in it. I'm theorizing this, and I've not really done much testing with it. But one of the things about percolation is that we take the coffee, we put it in the percolator cup, we put the thing in, and then we put the whole thing on the fire. And as it's heating up, it's going to start pushing the water through the percolation, right? My theory, maybe I did try this once, is that you take the pot and you boil it. You bring it to a boil without the coffee in it. And then once it reaches the boil, you take your thing, your whole contraption, and you put it in there 4 minutes or 3 minutes, stop, done. And I think my theory, and you can you let it boil for that 3 minutes, right? So that the percolation happens, so that it comes up the stem and comes over and cascades through the coffee. And I think my theory is that will yield better results. I haven't tried it yet. I need to try it yet. So, all right, well, that's pretty much it for today. Time to head out. It's already 11 o'clock. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Got any interesting plans? I don't have any plans. I have more wood to build. That's really what I'm working on, like wood projects still. So we're at Tous Les Jours here in Ellicott City, Maryland. Very nice latte. Very pleasant. Lightly sweet, just the sweetness from the steaming of the milk, which is just what you want. The coffee, the base coffee, that's the espresso, is just really pleasantly blended with the milk. Like this is really a great latte. Like maybe excellent latte. Latte art, not very apparent. Like not really. If you look at the beginning of the video or look at early in the stream, you're gonna see the latte art was nothing special, but everything else was very good, very good. And we had our Saboro with strawberry and whipped cream. Very lovely tasting. All right, so that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much. We'll be back again next week with more of the Coffee Q&A to wrap out 2024. So hope you have a wonderful day or a wonderful night wherever you are in the world. Dana, hope your move goes more smoothly. And the rest of you, thank you very much for tuning in. And see you next time.